Hello, in this video we're going to talk about the crew member settings in APDL. Let's get right into it here. I don't have any crew members set in this example. I also don't have a default captain or first officer set at the moment. So we're going to start by adding a new crew member with the plus icon at the top right. I'm just going to go ahead and put in crew member name here. Company ID is a optional field. I'm going to call this guy 1234. And let's say he's a captain. I can put any notes if I want to say which city this person lives in, if he's a commuter, if he's a chief pilot or something like that. I'm going to say this is a nice guy. At the moment, the set is default captain, default first officer, and clear defaults are disabled because I haven't saved this crew member yet. So I'll save that, then I can go back and now those options are available, or I can delete them as well. I'm going to say this is the default captain. We get along really well. We always buddy bid. We fly together all the time. So I'm going to say, hey, this is my default captain. Now I can see now the default captain is Joe Doe. I also have a note under his company ID. I have not flown with Joe Doe yet. I haven't had any flights in APDL entered that he was the captain. Go ahead and save that. Now I have a note, Joe Doe is the default captain. Go ahead and create another crew member. I'm going to say this is me. Very creative name there. Company ID is some random numbers there. Let's say I'm the first officer, and this is me. Not key, this is me. Alright, so there's me. We now see a check mark next to Joe Doe. We can see that means he's the default captain. I'm going to go over here and say default first officer is me. So default first officer is me, default captain is Joe Doe. Now I have a check mark by my name as well, and we have a note at the bottom that says he's the default captain and I'm the default first officer. Go ahead and create a few more people just for some examples here. As you can see, the employee number is an optional field. I don't have to enter that. And also designate a person as a first officer, flight attendant, or other if I wanted to use some other type of categorization. You can search through the list here. It's not going to be a very effective search at this point, but say I type in EMP, it immediately gives me results that contain the letters EMP. Type O, it gives me Joe Doe as well as employees 2 and 3. So I can use that if my list becomes very long and I have to scroll through it very far to find who I'm looking for. The list is in alphabetical order in this case. So we're going to go back, we're going to create a flight. And we're going to add our crew members to this flight. Now this is a flight that's already been entered prior to me setting those defaults, so the crew members at the bottom down here were not automatically entered. Since I set Joe Doe and myself as default crew members, any new flights that I manually create or import will have us automatically entered in the crew section here. So for now I'm going to open the crew section. You can see I have pilots and the cabin crew section. Important note, the pilot section, we have a note here that says the above inputs affect legality. If I wanted to indicate that I was flying with a 3 or 4 person crew, I would put those names in the other crew A, other crew B section here. For cabin crew, I would make sure to put flight attendant names in cabin crew A or cabin crew B section. If I put a flight attendant name or any other person in the crew, in the cabin crew, in the other crew section here, under the pilots category, that would tell APDL that I was using augmented regulations, and it's going to throw off all the legality calculations since they were not actually additional crew members. So I'm going to select the captain. I'm going to say, oh, Joe's the captain. I'm the first officer. Now we see here in the crew line that we have a captain and an FO listed, and hit save on that. If we have auto forward enabled, you can go to the next line here and they should be carried over. There's Joe and there's me. If I Joe calls out sick. Now we have another guy come in. I can change that to employee 2, save, go to the next flight. Now we're going to have employee 2 carried over since Joe was out sick. Go ahead and create a new flight here. Just pick some random airports here for purposes of making an example. And we can see I already have the default crew members entered here, and that's one of the benefits of the ability to set a crew member as default, so you don't have to enter in the crew every single time. Of course, if that's no longer the captain you fly with anymore, me and Joe had an argument, we don't fly together anymore, I can go back to the crew members list and clear crew defaults. That's going to clear both of the crew member defaults, so I'll have to go back and set myself as the default first officer again, and then it's only me and Joe is history. Now I fly with somebody else. On the crew members line here on the main settings page, we do have a listing of who the default crew members are listed as, screen space permitting there. One thing to add about the crew members list, I do have a list here of I've flown one flight with Joe Doe. My last flight with him was on September 24th. Then I should also have one flight with employee 2. That's about all we have to say for the crew members list. Come back for the next video.